Put your glasses on.
Nothing will be won.
That's
It's a good song.
It's a good like pop
until
punk
the
song.
lyrics.
Well,
Put your glasses on. Nothing will be won. There's no time. There's no shame. Never you.
It's catchy. It's just that beginning notes are like, oh, it sounds kind of bad.
Well, I listen to Nirvana, so I get the playing the bad note on purpose. But the no 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 is what you say. No 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 no.
It's a great song.
It's too right. It's too right. It's the most English thing ever. I forget the lyrics to the end song. It's almost as good as the Fist of the North Star. Well, he's like walking slowly while Shin is fighting Rao. And it's like, if you ran, Kenshiro, you'd be there in a couple seconds, but you're going to take a slow, cool anime walk.
His power.
I think one of the lines is, hey, hey, doing what I ever want to do. Hey, hey. It's like, huh? Talking about my complex.
Talking about Fanboy and the Snob. We're going to be talking about Berserk today, if you haven't noticed.
Because I finally got Chad to watch an anime that came out more than 20 years ago.
Dragon Ball came out more than 20 years ago.
Yeah, but everybody's seen Dragon Ball. Not everybody's seen Berserk.
Yu Hakusho came out more than 20 years ago.
Berserk better than Dragon Ball?
No. Not even going to Dragon Ball Z, I love Dragon Ball.
Who's a better character, Guts or Goku? Guts, obviously, because things change. He grows. He gets injured. Injuries are permanent. Guts is a better character than Goku, and you know it. Now, who's a more fun character? Who would you rather party with? Goku. I would party with Goku.
Guts can go pretty crazy.
No, Guts would be like, you want a drink? And I'd be like, yeah, sure. And then 5 minutes later, after telling me his, man, my wife's mad at me. And he's like, oh yeah, well, I'm watching a retard who got raped. I'd be like, oh.
Yeah, but Goku would be like, why am I drinking? I want to go train.
And I'd be like, all right, let's go train. And then he'd be like, here's a Zenzu bean every time you get tired. And I'd be like, that's cool. But then awesome. Guts is like, hey, let's go train. And you're like, and he's just swinging a giant sword at you. And you're trying to dodge it.
Imagine actually having a Zenkai boost and having Senso, wow.
You know what's great about Berserk? There's no such thing as Zenzu beans or Zenkai
Sensu
boosts.
beans. Imagine just being able to have Sensu beans to get the shit beat out of you. Sensu bean.
You know what's even cooler? Getting the shit beat out of you and having to lay in a tent for 6 months while everything else happens around you. And then you come back stronger and some bitch runs up and knees you in the chest. God, I love Berserk. So yeah, we can just tell you the plot, but that would be lame. So how about Chad, since I've been talking about the show since I joined, since all the way back at JYA, I've been talking about Berserk. I think one of the first episodes on JYA, I started with Griffith did nothing wrong, which I maintain. I'm not even saying that for the memes. I genuinely believe Griffith did nothing wrong.
No, my history of Berserk is you telling me to do that, then me going on Netflix being like, oh, Berserk's on here, then noticing it was the movie with the shitty animation change.
The bad 3Ds.
Yeah. And I remember being like, this doesn't look too good. Like, I don't think I'm like, oh, I'm watching a movie. And you're like, turn it off.
Watch the TV show.
TV show.
From 97. The new one is not that good.
What the new?
It's done with the same animation of the movies.
Yeah. Why would you do it? The animation, that's my favorite, cheaper. I know, but that's my favorite stage of anime. Is where they had those characters and everything like that.
The late 90s, early 2000s kind of anime. The Bebops, the Triguns,
Or, as you say, it's not same face.
God, I hate same face.
My Hero Academia.
Who was your favorite tertiary character? Third string. So, Guts and Griffith are main characters. Casca would be second string.
Who's the dude with the little ponytail? The blonde guy? Where he's like, I'm not the best, but
Is he the throwing knife?
Yeah, he's like, I'm really good at stuff.
Wow, I said his name 5 seconds ago and I already forgot it.
I feel bad because he was in love with Casca.
Yeah, and he didn't.
And there was that episode where he's like, I know I can't have you, but me saying this to you is my last words. And it's like, damn, bro.
You always cry when you're alone. Those are my last words. And then he dies.
His last thought was caring about fucking Casca. Casca's badass.
Dude, until she had her period.
This show went heavy on like the women flaws.
But it's like, as awful as this sounds, hey, guess what? Women have their periods, and sometimes it happens in the middle of a fucking battle.
She didn't care though.
No, she tried her best, but it kind of fucked things up for Guts, don't you think?
Well, the problem with the Guts' whole character arc was like, I'm in this because he grew up in like a abusive relationship with a guy who took him in. He was
Gambino.
He was born out of like what? What'd you say it was?
It was a rotting corpse hanging from a tree.
And they couldn't believe he was alive. And the woman's like, we can't leave him here.
Gambino's wife was like, I can't leave him here. So they took him in, and then she fell ill and died. And Gambino blamed Guts. And then he just mistreated Guts to the point of where he even sold him for sexual slavery. Guts was raped a bunch as a kid. Which made Guts kind of adopt a nihilistic worldview and just close off and just live for the next battle. His entire existence became killing for coin, because that's all Gambino wanted.
Yeah, because at one point his father was drunk, came back, started blaming him for stuff.
Well, Gambino lost his leg in a siege, and now Gambino could no longer be the big dick on campus, and that's right when Guts started to flourish as a killing machine. So Gambino got drunk, stumbles in his tent, decides he's going to kill the guy that killed his wife and now is stealing his thunder. Guts being Guts fucking murders him. And then ever since then, he's just been a sword for hire until he runs into Griffith.
Oh, your guy was... Yeah.
No, my guy's Guthrie.
Guthrie.
He runs into Griffith, leader of the Band of the Hawks. A man who's forging his own destiny.
And pretty much was like, if I beat you, you're mine.
Not even if I beat you, because they were opposite sides sieging a castle. And once Guts showed up and killed Bazuzo, Griffith was like, all right, our army's pulling out. Like,
yeah, but even Griffith was like...
If Corcus hadn't tried to rob him, then Griffith would have let him go. But Corcus tries to rob him. He kills like 3 of his guys. Remember when Casca's laying on the ground? I'm gonna die. Like, as he's bringing the sword down, like, she is completely defenseless on the ground, just like, I'm gonna die. Like,
I was happy where they ended up.
Yeah. Casca's cool. Casca's a chick, again, who was, like, betrothed to, like, a shitty noble who, like, raped her. And then Griffith robbed the noble's stagecoach, killed the noble, and then she was like, what do I do now? And he was like, can you carry a sword? And she was like, yeah, sure. And then, boom, became his, like, best friend.
And wannabe lover.
Boy, did she want his dick.
Yeah. But you know what? She probably got the better one.
I still blame Guts for all the bad stuff that happened.
It's not Guts' fault.
He didn't have to walk away.
Yeah, but it's not his fault that Griffith was a emotional fucking petty bitch.
He was only emotional. Remember in the first fight, Guts is freaking out, swinging like a jackass, and Griffith just... You know, but then in the second fight, because Griffith is like, you're really going to ditch me now when I need you most? And Guts is like, yeah, sure. So he's pissed off fighting. And that's the only reason he wins. And then he goes and rapes that chick. Well, not rapes, because later on in the manga, they wind up married together.
The princess?
The princess, yeah.
Yeah, that was rape.
No, it wasn't.
At one point, she was like, no.
She was saying no because she knew if they got caught, that would happen.
Yeah, I guess.
No, because later on in the manga, when Griffith reappears after he gets done doing his Fomento bullshit, and he comes back as Griffith and he's got a shiny... Dude, Griffith, when he's full demon form, wears the white full armor and he constantly has like a ray of light and doves around him. So he shows up in his human form and she's like, oh my god, you're back. Let's get married. You know, because she loves him.
I'm so mad the way this ended.
I told you. I kept telling you. I was like, dude, it's so good.
It's not even that the pilot was a spoiler. It was just a tease of what's to come.
Huge spoiler, though. Imagine if you didn't know Guts lost his hand.
Yeah.
And then you saw that happen, you'd be like, what the fuck? But again, you spoiled it for yourself. So
yeah, but even watching the pilot, you don't know his hand's gone. It just looks like he has a gauntlet on.
Except for the part when he drops his hand and you see the hole and he pulls the black powder pistol to shoot the snake thing.
Could have been a cool wrist rocket.
Also, you see, I'm forgetting the blacksmith's name, but he's making the Dragon Slayer. Guts doesn't hang out with that guy until after everything that happens in Hell.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why they did that. It was kind of stupid. Don't
It's
watch the pilot.
like I said, it's like the Rick and Morty thing where they're like, "Oh, this episode's interesting. It should go first," and it's like, "Yeah, but it's out of order. It's like way out of order."
I think out of any anime, I'm mad they didn't continue this one.
I'm glad they didn't though,
Could have been so cool.
but I'm glad it didn't turn into DBZ. Imagine if Guts got Ultra Instinct and his hair was white this time.
That's why I like the gradual like power shift. Like you don't notice until like one of the line like, yeah, but he's gotten so much stronger when Casca's talking about them fighting and everything.
I like how you don't notice the fight, the shift really in Guts until Zod is killing all his men. And they're like, "We sent 30 guys in there." And he's like, "All right, don't send anyone else." And he just unsheaths his sword and he walks in and Goku's voice actor goes, "Well, shit, Guts is going." He's just like, "Well, Guts is going." Like that's where you realize how tough Guts is. And then Guts is fighting Zod and he starts to win and then Zod goes full demon and he's still putting up a fight and then Griffith shows up and he's like, "What's going on?" And he's like, "Oh, Guts is fighting Zod." And Griffith is like, "No one follow me." And then he goes in, sees the demon, and they both start fighting together. Also, that completely so Guts Griffith's whole thing is a friend. I consider someone a friend who has their own ambitions. Completely negated when he risks his own life to save Guts against Zod.
Yeah.
You know? So like that whole like, "Oh, well, he's not really my." You wouldn't have run in there for any. You wouldn't have run in there for
That's
Casca.
why fucking Guts is dumb. If only he just expressed his feelings.
If both of them
yeah.
were
If they both weren't so like egotistic,
manly men, yeah. If they were both like willing to sit down and be like, "All right, babe," like
I thought they were gonna be like they're gonna end up.
dude, they're totally gay for each other and they just don't realize it.
Yeah.
Like
I think Gareth realizes it.
Griffith.
Wow.
Griffith at first saw Guts as a tool, and then he grew to be his friend. And then I think the friendship turned to love. Maybe, I don't know. It could have just been like one of those real serious.
Love doesn't have to be physical.
Could have been one of those real serious bromances. Whereas Guts joined and he was like, "Whatever, this guy's cool." And then he was like, "Oh, dude, this dude's my friend." And then he was like, "Oh shit, are we in love?" Like. Again, it was one of those real serious bromances.
I did see the Casca Guts thing happening.
Oh yeah, of course.
I knew,
yeah. Come on.
She fucking wanted him so bad
And
from the beginning,
dude. Remember when she's like changing Griffith's bandages, and she realizes she's no longer sexually attracted to him, and Griffith reads it on her face,
just lays on her.
Yeah, and she's like, "Ew."
That was such a weird scene. Like, did he like rape her there?
No, he was. So
or did
Griffith
he, like, pass out.
No, he was testing. So Griffith had,
because at the end of that scene, he was just making eye contact with her the whole time.
Yeah, well, keep in mind, like he had all his tendons severed. He literally couldn't move himself, and what he did by throwing himself on her is kind of just his like, "Hey, remember when you loved me?" kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like that was literally that, and maybe Guts being like, "Haha, buddy, it's okay," like patronizing him. That's what broke it. It was just him realizing how hard he fucked up and how useless.
And plus, you did overhear them being like, "He's never gonna do anything ever again."
But he's still our leader. Yeah.
Yeah.
He had his tongue cut out. He couldn't even give orders. And remember when Guts takes his helmet off and goes, "Ooh."
Yeah, so his face was mangled.
Yeah. So, and the only person to blame for his misfortune was him, which he couldn't do, so he blamed Guts.
Yeah.
Which is why Griffith
I feel like Guts was Gareth's anchor.
Okay, ready? G R
Griffith.
I F F I T H. Griff.
I'm just gonna call him Griff.
That works. Griff and Guts.
So Guts was definitely Griff's anchor.
Not necessarily.
No,
Griffith's ambition was his anchor. It was Guts that made him forget his own ambition.
So you think he was the floater?
I think he was the ripple in the pond.
Yeah.
That made Griffith reevaluate everything. which then because imagine if Griffith never met Guts. I think everything would have happened the same way.
But successful.
Maybe not. It would have taken longer, but yeah, I think
Yeah.
he would have eventually wound up king of Midland.
Although I think that time when they had to fight that demon thing, they would just got taken out.
Griffith wouldn't have gone in.
You don't think so?
He wouldn't have. Oh no, Corcus is getting attacked by Zod. Oh well. Because remember, he's carving a path of bodies to the throne.
Yeah, but I don't think he knew about Zod. He didn't
No,
know.
everyone knows about Zod.
Yeah, but it was like the legend. Like
Zod the Immortal. He shows up whenever battles are most dire. Griffith is an incredibly intelligent fighter, incredibly intelligent strategist. Would have gone, nah. You know?
Not running in full of emotion.
Because my buddy Guts is in trouble. I gotta save him.
That's
and the way they do that cross, and then he stabs low, and Guts jumps up in the air and brings it down on his shoulder.
That's kind of stuff I'm thinking of.
Yeah,
D&D.
That's exactly what we're gonna do. We're gonna do crazy shit like that. Stay tuned for D&D. We're gonna try and do a Guts Griffith thing, but it's probably not gonna work. I like the one when he kills the guy that he had sex with.
Oh, and he gets his revenge. He's like, you may have thought about me,
Griffith,
but I don't think anything about
spent
you.
many nights thinking you were just a means to an end, old man. I felt nothing for you. Which we know is not true, because when he's in the pond, he fucking cuts himself thinking about it, and he cuts himself, and then realizes like, oh, pain's gone. Don't worry, Casca, it's okay. You know, like that disconnect. I love Griffith.
Yeah, Griffith was definitely like
one of the most complex characters you've ever seen in fiction, right?
Yeah, but
yeah, there's no beach episode. There's no filler What would be the filler episode?
There was one filler episode where I'm trying to think of what happened in it. It was the episode where he's pretty much the episode where he's with the armor guy, the fucking
the blacksmith.
Yeah.
Right. So the pilot.
No, the episode when he's with the blacksmith and the granddaughter.
That is not a filler episode. Well, that is actually key important to the story, because Guts goes off, tries to do his own thing, but in the end,
it is cool though. It shows him training and everything.
He winds up back with the Hawks, whether he wants to or not.
Yeah, because the guy comes, he's like, I need a bunch of swords so I can kill these fucking Hawks.
And he's like, the Hawks?
The fuck did you say?
Well, he's more like, wait, aren't they nobles? And he's like, no, they were betrayed. And he's like, oh, well, they weren't betrayed, but they were found enemies of the state, and Griffith is in prison. And he's like, not my boyfriend. And he fucking...
Not my man.
Not my man. All right, see, that's what I hate about, like, the way they've done Western media now, is, like, men aren't allowed to have friends they care about, because then they're gay. Like, you're not allowed to have a male friend you give a shit about, because then you're like...
There's no bro ships anymore.
Ricket in the anime gets killed by demons, but in the manga, he gets saved by the Skull Knight. The Skull Knight literally goes, come with me, and grabs him and saves him right before the demon attack. And then when Griffith / Femento like gets his utopian society in Falconalia or whatever it's called, Ricket's the only one that walks up to him and is like, smack, you did what to my friends? And Griffith just takes it, you know, because like, I'm not gonna kill Ricket, you know. Because Ricket's the only one of the Band of the Hawks without the mark that's still alive. Casca's got it in the armpit, and Guts has got it on his neck. Ricket escaped because the Skull Knight saved him.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah. But Pippin, Corcus, Judo, everyone else.
Yeah, that was a fucked up scene. You're like, oh, there's everybody.
When Ricket saves, or Pippin saves Casca by swiping that thing's head off, and he's like, you go, I stay, like Iron Giant kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then he's fighting the monsters and winning, but then more show up and he just gets...
Yeah. And Casca gets it fucking super dirty in that scene. Like, all of a sudden she's there and she gets captured and it's just clothes off.
Why do you think he raped her?
To show dominance over Guts.
And to show dominance over the other four. Just to be like, look how badass I am. Look what I'm doing. Because by then he had no goals. He was just doing what he was doing.
Now he wants to take over the demons.
which in the manga he successfully does. And he takes over the humans, and he unites the two.
That's cool.
So Griffith did nothing wrong.
If you want to go greater good wise.
100
You want to
lives.
go fucking up your best friends.
Hold on. Quoting Star Trek. Needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. So those 100, those million. You know what I mean? And that's why you'll never be Griffith. That's why you're guts and angry and stupid and fat.
Fuck you. But what'd you think of like the transitions towards the manga and the anime when they're in the battle scenes and everything? Think it added to it, or you think it was more kind of a?
I think it added to it. I think, okay, the coolest thing about manga is like it shows action really well. Like the One Punch Man manga is fucking really fun to read.
That guy is just his Marvel Comics like drawings and everything of Spider-Man shit are ridiculous.
Like, why can't I remember this guy's name? I don't want to say Nakamura because that's not right. It's Miura, Miura. The panel I used to show to people when I was like, yo, you gotta read Berserk is when Guts is waking up from one of his nightmares and he's surrounded by skeletons, and it's this cool splash page where he's doing like a horizontal slash and it's just cleaving an army of skeletons, but there's still thousands more behind it. And I was like, yo, if you want to read something about this, you know, like here you go. Like I gave it to Roby and Brad, and like Brad never finished it or even started, but Roby read it and was like, what? And I was like, that's what's up, Roby. Me and you. Yeah. So what year did Hellraiser come out?
I think it was an 80s thing.
87. So yeah, he definitely borrowed some fucking
the Xenomorph.
Well, they're called the God Hand. And then the Xenobites. Yeah, the God Hand is definitely kind of ripping off the Xenobites, but I wouldn't even say homage. Paying homage to
the little fat thing with the glasses. There's definitely a Xenobite that looks.
And then
like
the brain guy looks like.
I feel like Tim Burton got that from this because Mars Attacks came out in like I think 94, 95.
Let's see. Okay, so how do you spell attacks?
ATTA.
I know.
Damn, bro.
96. Yep. Because the manga was first issued in 90. No, this is a 10 out of 10 for me. I fucking love it. Sure, the animation is kind of shit. There's lots of... Well,
that's like the old... that's like the old Disney style where they would reuse the frames and everything to make it look like it was in motion.
Yeah.
They had to do it back then. First of all, would you rather have like Dragon Ball Super at the beginning animation where it was just like ugly, or would you rather have this consistent, really cool animation?
What you're asking is, would you rather have a show that's poorly animated with amazing characters and story, or a show that's beautifully animated but it's puddle deep? Redline is beautifully animated.
Dragon Ball Super was ugly animated at the beginning.
Yeah, Dragon Ball Super sucks though. Redline, beautiful. 10 out of 10 when it comes to art direction and animation. Puddle deep.
Yeah, but it's good puddle deep though.
Berserk, kind of okay animation. Whoa, that story. Whoa, those characters. Holy shit.
Yeah, there was a few episodes in Berserk where you could tell that was the cheaper animators. This is where
we gotta save some money.
Yeah.
Naked Bucket Fight.
Those best animated. Those fucking squarey abs.
I love how they always show you Griffith's like tramp stamp area, but they never show you his dong. I feel like he's hung. Because imagine if you turn around and he had a little dick, you'd be like, ooh.
Well, he's always naked, so
he's gotta have like.
He's gotta be confident about something.
Be like.
He's like, that's why I'm gonna be king.
Anyone who's confident enough to be like a twink and then turn like
swing it,
like a twink with a small dick is sad, but a twink with a big dick, you're like, that dude fucks.
Fuck yeah. But yes, Berserk. Berserk is one of the most greatest disappointments I've ever watched.
What do you mean by greatest disappointment?
It was one of the best animes I've ever watched, but then it's like watching a canceled show.
Yeah.
It just didn't finish. It's at the point where it ended. You're like, holy shit. And it just ends.
But isn't that the best? It literally ends on the lowest note.
And you're like, what fucking happens?
They lost.
Ugh,
Well, they didn't lose. Griffith won.
yeah.
That's how it ends. Because remember the scene where he's like, I have this thing. And he holds up the bayonet and he's like, look at it. Isn't this fucking cool? Like, they're just straight up being like, this dude will do anything.
It's very frustrating anime at the end.
I loved it. The ending was perfect. The ending was perfect. It's exactly how it should have ended. We'll read the books.
Yeah, well, eventually. I think Guts is one of my favorite protagonists in that anime.
Griffith is definitely one of my favorite antagonists. Like, a lot of people be like, okay, this is kind of an unfair comparison.
Frieza.
No. God, no. Frieza is...
Frieza's great, dude, especially what they're doing
Frieza's
now.
the guy who's like, this is my family's technique or whatever, and he gets owned by Casca.
No.
That's Frieza. Yeah. Frieza is like...
Frieza's like, fuck all them. I'm the strongest.
No, he's... Anyway. I wish to be an inch taller. All right, cool, Frieza. Yeah, you've just been made a joke. I no longer respect you as a character.
Fuck you.
No, seriously, I no longer respect that as a villain.
Oh.
He finally got what he wanted. All he wants to be is an inch tall. Isn't that wacky? Fuck you, Toriyama. How many villains do you see win?
In
Fiction. I mean, Moriarty kills Holmes. You know that, right?
Hmm.
You didn't know that, did you?
Mm-hmm.
You actually did know that?
Mm.
Okay. Yeah, Dr. Moriarty wins. Posthumously, but he still wins.
So wins.
So you know how everyone says Joker is like the best villain in fiction? Because he's like so unpredictable and he's so wacky and he's so well written.
Griff is the best
Oh
villain.
my god. Doesn't Griffith completely blow the water out of the Joker?
Do you think they could do a live action of this? I feel like it wouldn't be that bad.
Let's cast a live action. Who plays Guts?
Carl Urban.
I was going to say that. Yeah, Carl Urban could
He's
play...
our go-to for like
But he would play
It's funny. Like,
he would play Guts perfectly.
If you look at his face, you would be like normal guy, but he could do like different faces and stuff, and he has facial expressions.
Joaquin Phoenix as Griffith. He doesn't have the face, but I feel like he's got the charisma. Because remember him as Commodus in Gladiator? No, you never saw Gladiator.
Yes, I did.
Remember him as the Joker?
I saw Gladiator.
Ooh, Colin Farrell. After that Penguin trailer, by the way, it's not the Batman in my mind. It's the Penguin. After that trailer, no, who could play Griffith really, besides me? Who could play Griffith really well besides me?
Who was Loki? Tom Hiddleston.
No, disagree 100%.
His face
I
matches.
know personality.
He could act. He's a good actor.
Do you want your Griffith doing this?
No, you gotta watch.
That's
his
Tom
other-
Hiddleston's
watch his
Loki.
other
Hold
movies.
on.
He's playing a role.
Okay.
All right, you want fucking Jim Carrey in there?
James McAvoy.
Yeah, I put James McAvoy.
James McAvoy could do it. But it wouldn't be good. Ethan Hawke for Judo. Dakota Fanning for Rickett.
Leonardo DiCaprio, like 20 years ago, 30 years ago.
And he's just yelling at everyone in a Boston accent. Because that's all he knows how to do.
No.
Is a screaming or Boston. Every character yells. Every character has a Boston accent. Leo is a one-note pony. Oh, Pippin, Brad Pitt in Batman mode. Or The Rock. Non-speaking role, 1 or 2 lines, The Rock. Always in armor, 8 feet tall.
Yeah, they can make him look rounder.
Yeah. Corcus.
Which one was Corcus?
Sleazebag. He was just in it to make money.
Jared Leto.
No, Jared Leto ain't manly enough. Oh, who played Wolverine?
Too old.
No, I'm ideal
Hugh
casting.
Jackman?
Yeah, Hugh Jackman would play a good Corcus.
Yeah.
Just drunk, like, when do we get laid?
Christian Bale.
Christian Bale could
He
play
could play.
Griffith.
Yeah. There's our Griffith.
Christian Bale would play Griffith.
I love Christian Bale.
Oh my god, because like the American Psycho, just
The
you know how
blank
Griffith
stare.
constantly does the blank stares. I watched a character study, and they're like, maybe the reason Griffith always stares at people is because he just has no idea how to socialize. So he hears people talking shit, and he turns around like, but then everyone's like, why is he staring at us?
Intimidation plus 10.
Yeah, right. But it's an unaware intimidation, and I was like, that explains so much, which is why he gets over emotional when Guts leaves, because he's like, "You're not supposed to leave."
So Guts leaving was super sad to begin with because like
Because think about it, the fight happened in the snow. Snow was white, background was black. Griffith was upset because, bro, you don't. Like, okay, again, this goes back to my argument about how like men aren't allowed to say they love each other without someone. He loved him.
and I love when he's like, "You need to fight me," and Griffith just didn't think he was gonna win,
Yeah,
and he just fucking one shots his sword, breaks it, and puts it right up to his neck.
stops, and he has the
He
Costco
has
moment.
he has a
of,
little
I'm
cut.
gonna die.
He has a little mark there because I remember
Yeah.
the show later on. He has like the little cut.
And guess what he
healing there.
goes and does? Anyway, so fucking Guts broke him because Guts betrayed him, and he thought Guts was the only one who wouldn't leave. And Guts left after hearing.
It pretty much just breaks his spirit. It's like the person you love the most in your life just leaving, and you're like, if they won't stay with me, why would I?
So goes and rapes it. Not rapes, but he oversteps his bounds. No, she wanted it. Because, like I said, in the manga, she's like, marry me, please, as soon as he comes back.
Yeah.
She
I feel like
wanted
that
it.
made her fall in love with him.
No, because remember the scene where he's parading through the city?
No, I
and
know she
she's-
had the crush. There's a difference between a crush and falling in love.
Not at that time period.
Nah.
No, because guess what? You only live for 40 years. Okay, so your crush is your love. You don't get that luxury of divorce and child support and all that. You fuck that dude, you fucking love him. All right? That's the way it works.
But yeah, this anime, the characterization, the emotions, the animation, even the soundtrack's not bad. It's there.
I listen to the Guts theme all the time. No, the theme just like it's like this like lo-fi, just like sad. And I listen to it because there's a Guts and Thunderstorm 10-hour loop, and I'll like play that while I'm doing stuff.
Probably put that on tonight.
Yeah,
The fucking beginning song made me chuckle a lot.
the intro credit song. I told you, and I played it for you, and you're like, I don't get why it's funny, and I'm like, dude, after the fourth time, like once you fully listen to it,
After like 15 episodes, I'm like skipping this, skipping.
Skip the
Then the
intro.
last episode I put it on, I'm like, so good.
how often did you skip the "A Man's Destiny"?
Yeah, then you'd be like, fuck, but there's that little thing.
Wait, it's
before the
different this time.
episode. Yeah. It's a great show though. It's in my top 5.
Dude, it's in my top 5 as
Yeah.
well.
We'll have to reveal
I
our top
found this-
5s one day, but
I found this. I found this maybe, I want to say like 12 or 13 years ago. Like me and Josh watched it, and like by the end we were like, "Holy fuck!" You know, like it was.
this is one of the ones I would have obsessed over back in the day.
It was definitely one of the first. Because like I had watched Eva, so like I was used to like depressing anime, and like Big O and stuff, and then I watched Berserk, and I was like, "Oh my god, these characters are so well written."
See, I feel bad. Like, I love Dragon Ball Z, and Super, and everything.
They're fun, but they're not.
They're my
good.
favorites, but I wish I didn't start on them because then I'm like,
It ruined everything.
Yeah,
didn't
it's
it?
like but this anime is so like intense and intriguing and stuff, and
So I started with DBZ, and I went, if they're showing this to me, this has to be surface level. You know what I mean? Like if the Japanese are showing this to me, this has to be surface level.
I think Yu Yu Hakusho was the second one I watched.
Yu Yu Hakusho, when I saw the Nazi break Kuwabara's arm, I was like, okay, so anime is fucking crazy. There's got to be deeper.
And I started watching Yu Yu when it was on Adult Swim.
When they were allowed to swear and stuff. I
Dude,
saw
watching the
Vegeta's-
Toonami version of Yu Yu Hakusho is
painful.
oof.
I watched Vegeta say, "You bastard," when Frieza was like being a dick, and I was like, "They swear."
I remember back in the day watching like the Mexican channel because they always have Dragon Ball Z, like the episodes we didn't see.
Dude, Spanish, Latin Americans,
They love
fucking love
Dragon Ball Z and wrestling.
it.
They love it.
I saw something in Mexico City, just a picture where they had like a giant like 500 by 500 canvas that was projecting the new episode of Dragon Ball Super,
Yeah.
and it was just a bunch of people
That
screaming.
was because a lot of people couldn't get like the
Yeah. But the fact that they put it in the public square and everyone watched Dragon Ball Super while screaming, it was like watching an Indian cinema. You know, like they were throwing off fireworks and shit, and you couldn't even see what was going on, but it didn't matter because everyone was having a party.
I saw something. There's rumors of them bringing Berserk back, continuing it.
Well, they have the new series out right now.
What is it like a remake or?
It, not a remake per se. It's telling the Berserk story just with a new animation style, which is like the movies.
Nah, that sucks.
Yep. Overall, favorite character, Guts or Griffith?
Probably Guts.
Reasons?
I feel like he just grew the most. Like at the beginning, he was just some guy fighting. Then he sees what friendship could be. Then at one point, he realizes, I'm never going to be good enough for him. Not even seeing that there's this woman falling in love with him. And he is just so convinced that she is in love with his friend that he just leaves. Then it comes back.
That's an interesting take. Because with the Guts character, I took the opposite where when he joined the Band of the Hawks, he was just killing to kill. He didn't care. And then he latched onto Griffith's goals.
I think it was more... See, for my theory,
But
I think it was more curiosity.
He explicitly states in the episode where he's like warming Casca after they fall off the cliff, he's like, I have no he says he's jealous of Casca and Griffith because they have purpose in life. He thinks, he's like, because again, he's born of a corpse. He's like, I have no reason to live.
Well, that's my point where he's like, he doesn't see his self-worth. So he doesn't see Casca liking him, but he sees somebody's literally telling them, you're coming with me no matter what. You can fight me, but if you lose, you're mine.
So he finds
purpose,
friendship, if you will, through friendship, purpose through friendship.
Yeah.
Whereas I think Griffith grew the most as a character.
I think they both did, because you could see by the end of the anime, fucking Guts is like talking to all the people around him, partying with them at some point. He manages to get the guts to fucking go for what's her name, Casca.
Yeah. Well, Guts does that on his own.
Yeah, but no, it's him growing though.
Yeah, true. The fact that he even had sex with a woman is insane.
Yeah, because at that point, I was thinking he's probably a virgin.
Oh, he is a virgin. Yeah. But you want to know why he's a virgin?
Mm.
Because he put all his... You can't kill someone during sex. You know? He put all his effort into killing. I like Griffith, believe it or not. And when I say character growth, I don't mean it like he becomes better. Like growth as in terms of character change.
Yeah.
Griffith's character change, his character growth, is probably the most shocking. If this was a normal story, Griffith is our hero, he becomes the king, and everyone lives happily ever after.
Yeah, but once Guts leaves, you know.
That's what I mean. If this was a normal story, Guts wouldn't have left. Guts wouldn't even have been a character. Guts would have been a side character.
If fucking Griffith wasn't trying to be all hot shit in front of the princess, being like, none of them were equal to me.
But if it was a normal story, actually, to be completely fair, no one was equal to him except for Guts. So, like, him being like, fuck all these nobles, it's 100% true.
Should have threw his boy in there.
Well, he does.
Isn't he to impress the princess?
Yes, he does.
If she wanted him anyway.
Hold on, he needs to marry the princess to get the throne after the king dies because he sent Guts to kill the fucking king's brother, and then he You know,
the fucking
remember
queen.
the hunting accident where he knows they're trying to kill him, so he puts himself
Fuck
between.
that guy. He's trying to poison.
But do you like what he did though? He puts himself between the princess, or puts himself between the princess and the assassin, so he can take the arrow. So the princess is like, "Oh my god," and like, "Oh, you're such a hero," and all this stuff. Like he is a Machiavellian genius.
Yeah, Griffith was definitely thinking like 10 steps ahead
Of everyone.
until
He murders the queen. He sets the queen
he didn't
up.
see Guts leaving though, so that's threw his plan.
Because
so his fucking OCD motherfucking ass.
Why would Guts leave though? He loves him. He treats Guts like an equal.
He loves him so much he doesn't want to be around him until he's his equal.
But
that's
Guts,
the real reason.
But I think he was telling the princess that whole thing about, I don't see people as my equals unless they have their own goals. I think he was just saying that to be like, look how big my dick is.
No, him, yeah, but Guts didn't see it that way.
Well, Guts wasn't supposed to hear that.
Yeah, so
that's what you get for eavesdropping, Guts, you fucking asshole. You deserve everything that happened to you.
He wasn't supposed to be fucking the princess.
He didn't fuck the princess until Guts left.
Yeah, but still.
No, Guts only...
They were at a party, and Guts was like, where's my boy?
Guts only heard that conversation because he was eavesdropping, because Casca went, hey, can you save me from these assholes? And he went, I'm going to go try and find my man.
There's no doubt when they were in love.
Dude, do you remember? When they're, when Griffith... the princess is running past him and she trips and Griffith catches her just naturally, because that's what you do. You catch someone when they're falling, and then the king's brother pulls a sword out and he's like, no commoner should touch the princess. And you see Griffith Guts take a single step forward. Griffith's like, no.
I see your arm twitch.
Basically like, no. Just that scene where he pulls a sword on Griffith and Guts is like, oh, no, you don't.
That's why I love their relationship. It's so sad how it ends.
They betray each other. That's the best part. They both see each other as betraying the other, and it leads to the very worst. The literal very worst scenario. Do you remember the part when they're breaking Griffith out of jail? And Casca and... Guts are in the jail cell with Griffith, and then the jailer shuts the door, and he goes, now I've got you all. And Guts
four times as strong.
Guts goes, are you the one that did this? And he went, yes, and now I'm going to. And before he could finish the sentence, Guts' sword is through the door, through the guy's chest. He's like, did you do this? Yes. And he's already killing the guy.
I like as he's dead, he just goes, just swings him down the thing.
The fact the guy was like, yes, I did it. And then just a sword.
That was a satisfying death.
That was
because that was fucked up. He was torturing, stabbing him with these needles.
And the fact that Griffith didn't fucking scream once. Which is probably why he cut his tongue out. Oh, you won't scream? I guess you don't need this, Yeah.
He didn't want to be charmed by him.
Oh, just the way all his charisma checks are. Like, that's all it is. Like, oh, okay.
I thought they were melting the helmet onto his face, and that's why it was on there.
That would have been cool, but
I understand the ugliness.
Well, also to mock him.
Yeah.
Like, look at you in your helmet. No, you used to be so regal.
Phantom of Paradise helmet.
Yeah, Phantom of Paradise. Oh, what more is to say about this? Watch it.
Any negatives?
Understandable. If it's not your style, it's not your style, but arguably speaking, this is probably one of the greatest animes ever made.
Yeah.
This
is one of the only animes where I kind of want to see a live action so they can actually like put depth to the characters the way they were trying to do in the anime.
Okay, so we have, who's our Guts? Carl Urban. Who's our Griffith? Joaquin Phoenix? Jared Leto? Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah, Jake Gyllenhaal.
All right, cool. Jake Gyllenhaal. Casca? Isabella Moner.
No.
Yes. Pippin is The Rock. Judo is who?
I feel like those should be unnamed actors.
No, Pippin has to be The Rock, though. And then Rickett can be played by the little boy in Stargirl.
But overall, just fucking watch it. It's good.
It's really good. It's free on YouTube. Free on Netflix. free on Prime.
Some really good animes on Netflix if you actually just not Netflix, YouTube.
Yeah, if you actually look for like, that's actually what's really cool with going on with YouTube right now is like a bunch of 80s, 90s anime is like free.
G Gundam's free.
Yeah, so I guess that's our next video.
That's only 26 episodes, I think, too.
Yeah, well, most animes are only 26 episodes because
Hmm.
you only really need 26 episodes to tell a story.
And she wants to have with Goku.
Boy, so much has happened. Remember when he turned blue?